While we are all aware of the health struggles of Pope Francis and continue to pray for his well-being, his current medical status makes us sober to the fact that God will eventually be calling him from this life. In light of this, it's not inappropriate to ask, what exactly happens when a pope dies? The purpose of this video, then, is to provide you with a unique answer to that interesting question. When a pope does pass from time into eternity, the Church enters into what is called in Latin the Interregnum period. The word interregnum literally means between reigns, and so represents the period of time between the end of one pontificate and the beginning of another. During this time, there are various rites and rituals that are performed to govern the transition. Today, I would like to help you to understand what happens immediately after a pope passes away. First, we need to understand that the cardinal who oversees the interregnum is called the Camerlengo. Camerlengo is the title given to the office of the papal household who administers the property and the revenue of the Holy See. And the current Camerlengo is Cardinal Kevin Farrell, who is from the United States. The Camerlengo will first verify the Pope's death. In the past, this meant he would pronounce the baptismal name of the Pope 3 times in his presence to ensure that there is no response. But in modern times, the Vatican does rely on medical professionals to determine death. And it is unknown, or at least unclear, whether the Camerlengo continues the tradition of speaking the Pope's name. After it has been determined that the Pope has indeed died, the Camerlengo will then authorize that a death certificate be issued, and he will notify the Cardinal Vicar of the Roman Diocese, who is currently Baldassare Reina. After the certification of the Pope's death, then the papal ring is removed and destroyed along with the papal seal. And this is to symbolize the end of his authority and to also prevent any future use, especially of the papal ring. Then, the long-standing tradition of sealing the papal apartment takes place. Now, this practice dates back to ancient times when there was a fear that the looting of the Pope's property would follow upon his death. Now, after all of this, then the Pope's body is blessed, adorned in papal garments, and displayed in St. Peter's Basilica. In terms of embalming, it is up to the Pope himself to determine if he will be embalmed or not. There are no written rules about that. Typically they are, but interesting to note that Pope John Paul II apparently chose not to be embalmed. Now, while the popes must be buried within 4 to 6 days of their death, the Church is to observe 9 days of mourning, and the conclave, where the new pope is elected, cannot begin until 15 to 20 days after the death of the pope. Now, because each pope can make revisions as to how a pope is to be buried, Pope Francis made changes that now allow a pope to be buried outside the Vatican, which is why he will be buried at the Basilica of St. Mary Major. And he also did away with the requirement that a pope be buried in the traditional 3 coffins made of cypress, lead, and oak. So this is what happens after the pope dies, and what will occur when God does decide to take Pope Francis from this world. In the meantime, let us continue to pray for Pope Francis. God bless you.